Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Haunt Talk. In today's episode we are going to be reviewing the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory in Akron, Ohio. I love it when the city is in the name of these haunts because then I know what city it's in. Obviously, this one's closer, so I don't know that anyways, but I always forget what cities it's in, so it's nice when it's like, oh, it's this area, then just plus haunted something or another. It makes it, so I'll have to look it up each time. But either way, this one's very famous. It's the schoolhouse has been open since what? You said like 74?
Yeah.
And the lab since 81. 81. Yeah, so it's been open for quite a while. This is also part of our Haunt Behind the Scare documentary. So if you're unfamiliar with that is on the channel. It's part of the documentary. We also go to Wells Township, Factory Chair, and Bloodview. So if you're interested in seeing the behind the scenes, that's something we made a while ago, but it's still relevant today. Still, very topical in the things. Not much has really changed since we made that documentary to the point where it's not relevant anymore. So if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you check that out. We also do have a giveaway going on right now. A pretty big giveaway. We're pretty excited about it. It's for 4 different haunted houses with 5 different chances to win. Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse, Wells Township, Fright Farm, and Crawford School of Terror. If you want more info on that, stick around to the end of the video. We'll have a little video that will be inserted where we tell you all the details on how to win that. That being said, we will go ahead and get right into the review, which of course means it is time to refer to the Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead!
Alright, so of course we're always going to start off with sets and props. This is 2 separate buildings. You go into the schoolhouse first, and then you go to the laboratory. The schoolhouse is an old schoolhouse. It's pretty cool. Only thing that always gets me is every time you have to walk up these steps to get to the top. Thankfully, they actually had the queue line kind of going up the steps, so it wasn't like you had to walk these flights of stairs and then go immediately into a haunted house. You actually had like a little bit of a break, so you're not like huffing and puffing and be like, hold on, so I don't have a heart attack while you're like trying to scare me.
Yeah.
So that was nice. So for the schoolhouse, it is kind of it starts off kind of themed as a school.
Not as much as I feel like it used to be.
No.
Because you push your way through these storybook pages, so it's kind of like you're entering some kind of horror story or something.
Yeah. So it starts off with the school, and then it goes into those pages and stuff, and you do see other scenes. There's a cool there's some cool bookshelves. The attic scene, that was really neat.
Yeah, the attic scene's been there for a really long time, but now since the people that run the Factory Chair have bought it, they have really done a lot to this place. They've really revamped the scenes. Now it's a little bit controversial because some people do complain that it doesn't have that old school feel. It is missing something, and I mean, I do understand where they're coming from, but I do also think, especially it's been a few years since we've been, particularly the laboratory. Yeah. We haven't actually been to the laboratory since 2017. The only reason we've been to the schoolhouse since then is we did a couple Valentine's Day events and stuff there for that. So we've been there a little more recently. But a lot of the stuff was new, but they still kept a lot of the classic scenes, which I like. They still have the giant, but he's now in a this cool swamp scene.
Mm-hmm. They still have Dracula's castle.
It's just more open now.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more open.
Because before, you would always walk, around the scenes, and, you would look at them. Now they've, used a lot of these classic scenes, and you walk in them, which is cool.
Yeah, you go behind the staircase in the Dracula scene. There's also that graveyard area that they kind of changed a little bit. You kind of... walk in the middle of it. The bus that used to just honk at you, it actually moves.
Yeah.
Now and comes at you, which was kind of scary.
Yeah.
We didn't expect that at all.
They had a cool little voodoo witch scene that was cool.
Yeah. They still have that room that that moves with your weight.
Which I haven't seen it I've seen it at other places, 100 Acre kind of has one, but this is the first place. But they've added things. They've added a lot more set dressing, all these keys hanging from the ceiling, so it kind of jingles a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, the whole room, as you move from one side to the other, the whole thing does. It's on the kind of thing that tilts it. They used to have more barrels, I think, in the middle, but now it's a little bit it's a little bit different. And there's like an actor in the middle that kind of can like walk in between. And
yeah, he kind of guides you a little bit. Like,
yeah.
kind of like distracts you so you don't realize it, because we were actually with somebody else and we both knew about the floor.
Right, but
we
he had
knew
never
what was
been
gonna
to this place
happen.
before, which was cool.
Yeah, so we kind of let him lead, and like we knew what was gonna happen, and we're like, wait for it, and then it did it, and yeah, of course we got a nice little scream out of him. But there was a really cool Halloween kind of
Like scarecrows and like
scene.
jack-o'-lanterns.
And then there was like a big pumpkin monster that came out. And yeah, the jack-o'-lanterns were neat because they were like kind of like had like the like guts like hanging from them, and it was very reminiscent of HHN's Pumpkin King. I thought of that instantly. I'm like, oh my god, are we going to see the Pumpkin King? Because it was just like all this pumpkin stuff just hanging everywhere. And
there's a cool, pretty classic scene that's been there for a very long time. It's like there's like a hill, and you like walk into like the hill. It's kind of like a mine kind of like looking area. You like walk through the hill and then walk back out. There's just a lot of really cool, very beautiful scenes that are in this place. And then of course it ends with the basement, which is short. Something that I definitely think was new, at least that I remember, is the walk to the basement now kind of looks like a satanic church.
Yeah.
And then you walk down into a coffin. Unfortunately, I don't know if we just missed it or if it wasn't working. There usually is like this cool monster worm, which is one of the like more original prompts that came out of the water. That wasn't working, but it might have been working, but we just might have missed it because it's like group like stopped and was like taking pictures or something in the bottom. So even though we didn't catch up to anybody, they were just like stopped in this corner and they saw us like, oh, and so we just kind of had to follow them through the rest of it. So they might have activated and we didn't get to see it. And it is cool seeing that big skull that's on the wall down there because that's the cover art for the documentary, so I always like seeing that.
Yeah.
I think that thing used to have blood running out of its mouth, and I just don't think it does it anymore. If I remember right, it used to
drip.
like...
Yeah, it used to drip water, and like they would color it. Yeah.
That is cool. And then the lab is so much different than I remember it being. And maybe it's just because we haven't been there for a while, but there's so much that like seemed new to me. Yeah, so they have like all these like monkeys and like little monkeys in cages, but there's also like a child in one of the cages, which is not a real child, it's a prop child. That was fun.
Yeah. There was this room that had like these bodies on tables, and then this weird, like big display with all these heads that were kind of attached, like tubular kind of attached to these bodies, and like they were moving, and it was really creepy but really cool.
It was funny. There was what we called it the reverse alien autopsy because, instead of the people dissecting an alien, there's a bunch of aliens and they're dissecting a person.
Yeah.
And again, these are all just props. None of these are like real actors or anything. And it is cool that one that's like the aerospace dynamics or whatever room. It's just like this giant like hole that goes down through the lab, and you can kind of like look down and see floors all the way beneath you. And it's cool because the very bottom is the vortex tunnel that you go through towards the end of the haunt, but you can just see it rotating. Down there,
yeah,
which
it just looks
kind
of cool. Yeah. And then of course the most famous thing that's there, which I forgot to look to see if the one was outside.
It was, but it wasn't working.
Okay. They have a giant Tesla coil inside this haunted house, and honestly, this is worth going to anyway, because it is scary as all hell, because you're in this giant metal cage and this thing is just shooting lightning at you.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's really cool, and I mean, it's been there forever, and
yeah, it's definitely one of the... I've seen it a couple other places now. Like, I think we forgot to mention the review, but Field of Screams actually had one of these outside. You walked around it. We did forget to mention that in the review. But you don't see this many places, and it's really cool, and it's loud, and it just has this like certain smell that it makes too. It's freaky. It was kind of funny too, there's a room where there's like this giant syringe that's just like swinging at you. It's this huge syringe. I'm not sure if it was a puppet or like an animatronic. I don't know if someone is controlling it. I think it was just an animatronic.
Yeah.
There's some like really gross props in this. Like there is that one room where all these tentacles are like going into this woman, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. There was a lot of really gory, like...
Yeah, a lot of really... The mine had a lot of... the lab had a lot of stuff. And just so much of it was different. Like, I recognize some of them as being original scenes, but the way they were laid out now were just so much different. Like, I did see the eyeball guy. He's like this prop that kind of looks like something from Resident Evil. That was cool that he was like in a corner. I saw him.
Yeah. They had like one scene that used to be where you would just walk along a wall and there was like a wall between you, and you would look into this scene and like there would be like big test tubes and stuff like that. Well, they kind of opened it up. They got rid of that wall and you actually kind of walk into that scene now, which I thought was really cool how they like kind of integrated that. Just because before it seemed kind of static because you were just kind of looking at it and you're like, oh, that looks really cool. I'd like to get closer to it to see it. And now you actually can because it's like right there. There was also this really weird door.
Oh, yeah, that was
scared cool. us. You know how, like, most of the time, like, in haunted houses, the doors are opening like this. No, this thing, like, was like this.
It was, like, falling on you, yeah, and it really got the guy that was with us in front. Yeah, it startled me, too. They also have a pretty cool vortex tunnel here, because it looks like stars. Yeah. It's a little bit more disorienting than most, so I thought that was cool. There's a lot of sets and props in this place. We could talk about it forever. But we gave it a 9.5. The only complaint that we had was that some scenes almost had an abundance of like mannequins and props that didn't necessarily fit. Like it might be something that you like recognize, like Kim saw a Dr. Satan in a room. So like stuff that like it takes you out of like the environment they're creating because it might be something you recognize from like a lot of other places. And there are some dark hallways, but I don't really mind them too much in this because, like, of how this place is and how they have to transition you. And the scenes are really elaborate, but I just feel like sometimes the scenes were almost a little too set-dressed. Yeah. And they relied a little bit too much on animatronics and that. They did have really cool murder puppets where they would come out and, like, grab you and stuff. Like, they don't touch here, but they would grab you with the puppets, though, which I did think was cool. They would just come out and just hit you. Like, there was a dog at the very end of the lab that would just, like, not let me go.
Yeah, that was
blocking my
funny.
path.
It just was not moving at all.
But yeah, sets and props were really, really good. Really, really pretty haunt. It was cool not going here for a while and coming back and seeing, like, how much things have changed. Yeah. So actors, we did go on a Sunday. So by default, there's going to be less than there would on a Friday or Saturday. That's going to be the biggest complaint is with a lot of them. It's like this one was hurting on actors. There's a lot of scenes where like you could see like, oh man, you know, that they would have really got me if they would have been in this hiding place like they would have supposed to been and stuff like that. But I will say the ones that were there, I think did a really good job. Yeah. It was really funny. The guy that we were with, so this actor comes in while we were actually just in the bottom of the stairs to go up to the schoolhouse. He came in because he needed to use the bathroom, and he was like heckling people when he came in. And he told the guy that we were with that he said he's like looking for someone like to basically eat, and he told him that he basically looked good, and he's like, "You want to come to the bathroom with me?" And it was just so creepy and weird. You want to come to the bathroom with me? I'm like, what?
What? No, thank you.
Yeah, I thought that was funny and strange. The chicken lady.
So we were walking in this one hallway, and all of a sudden we hear like, bark, 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 bark.
Yeah.
Bark, bark. And we're like, that sounds like someone's just balking. And yeah, there was this lady, and she was like in this box, like these bunch of boxes that were stacked up, and she was just clucking like a frickin' chicken. And then, like, I don't even think she was dressed like a chicken or anything.
I think she was balking. Yeah.
She was just balking. And, like, at one point she did stick her head out. And, like, yeah, just bark, bark. And that was it. And she just kept balking. It was really strange, but
yeah. And then she
funny.
she reached out and, like, hit curtains in our face, though, which did startle us. Because all of a sudden these curtains just came flying at us. So that was cool. They do have pretty good hiding spots. I will say, I feel like one thing they might have lost here with changing so much is I remember there being even better hiding spots, you know, when it was more of the old school traditional thing. Like, people would come out from floors, there's things under desks, and, like, there's a lot more loud noises and stuff they would make. Yeah. Like, with chains, but they've went more of a modern route where you are one with the scene instead of just looking at the scenes. So they definitely have lost a little bit of the scares in there, but the actors, you know, try and be a little bit more interactive now outside of just popping out. Yeah. But they do have some of that as well. Like, there's places like that they'll just camouflage it into a wall, and the actor will just like seemingly come out of the wall, like the wall itself will open, and stuff that very much looks like a prop people will come out of. It's just that there wasn't quite enough actors placed in those. There's a lot of things where you're like waiting for it, and then you would walk through like 1 or 2 rooms before a scare would even happen.
Yeah.
But again, it was a Sunday. I'm hoping that on Fridays and Saturdays there'll be more, but we have to do some of these places on Sunday so we can get all these reviews in. Probably the standout of the night, though, was this weird frickin' guy in this, he had like a gimp mask on, and then for some reason he was like, had a gimp mask on, like a leather little vest, and there's a baby strapped to his chest, like a baby doll.
Yeah.
And we kind of saw him as we walked around the floor he was on. He was kind of like behind this fencing and kind of like looking at us and just like watching us, not really doing much. But then when we get to the end, there's a group like that we ended up catching up with. He let them pass, and then he stopped the person we were with, and he just like presses up like real close against him, and then he reaches up and just unbuttons his leather like mouthpiece and just like snap, 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 and then he just goes right up to his face and just goes like that. It was so creepy. Like, I mean, he was so close. Obviously, he didn't actually lick him, but he was inches away.
Yeah, and he did it for a really long time. Like, it was like a solid, like, 30 seconds.
Didn't say anything, just slowly just peeled his mask off and just... And I'm like, what? And then he came back and did it a little bit to Kim, but then we kind of scurried past him because we were like, ugh.
We're just like, okay, bye.
It was creepy, and I just didn't expect it. When he just reached up and just took that thing off, and I'm like,
snapping. He's just like, snap, snap, snap.
It was something.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
So we did give them an 8.5 for actors.
Yeah, the ones that were really good. It's just they were very sorely lacking that night. But I'm hoping that if you do go on a Friday or Saturday, there are a lot more actors. Let us know if you have gone one of these nights and if you thought that they were more adequately staffed. Because if everyone is as good as what was there that night, then I think it would be really fantastic.
Yes.
So moving right along to scare factor. Now, they do not touch here, like we were saying. They do have good hiding spots. Most of it is going to be jump scares in the schoolhouse, and it doesn't get real crazy gory until the lab, but it is really gory in the lab. Mm-hmm. So, if you're not a fan of that kind of like weird experimenting, like mental type of horror / like body horror thing, I think very much like The Thing or something like that.
Yeah, they were like sewn together. People and things like
mild nudity kind of thing.
Yeah.
Real mild, but well, but yeah.
Yeah, so you're not going to be happy with that.
A lot of stupid dumb air cannons. There's so many stupid dumb air cannons shooting the heck out of you. Those puppets, like I said, they're very aggressive. They come out of nowhere and just grab you and stuff. There's even one that had like little pincers that we didn't get, but we saw the people like in front who would come out and just pinch and like that was cool. But yeah, it was pretty decently scary. It's one that you probably wouldn't want to take real young kids to. Like I said, they don't touch, but the actors are fairly aggressive, and I imagine if you go on a night where there's even more actors, that it would be... I know that when we used to go and they were fully staffed, like it could become overwhelming like years past, because like they're just popping out of every orifices. Because there's like a lot of spots I know too, like you'd be walking down a dark hallway and all of a sudden like something will just light up right beside you and there'll be an actor just screaming at you. And that's always scary when it's just like nothing, and all of a sudden they're out of nowhere. Because when you're in a scene, you kind of know where, you can kind of look around and know where to expect a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But they are good at hiding that too. So there is, a lot of that just kind of like jump and like be in your face kind of scare.
So we did give scare factor an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's pretty scary.
It's pretty scary, yeah. And it might even be a 9. Like, it's just hard to judge because I don't know exactly how they do everything when they're fully staffed, but like I said, it could even be a little bit higher. Just know that. So if you go on a Friday and Saturday and you're like, oh my god, that was so scary, like, I mean, an 8's still pretty scary, but like I said, it has potential to be a little bit higher there. So just know this place is so actor focused in the scares. But there's some props really too that like would come out like, oh yeah, there was in like a morgue scene, there was this like one of like the plates they put on bodies, like things lit up and they kind of shook, and then this one just jutted out of the wall and smacked me in the shoulder, scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, if I hadn't been paying attention, I probably would have walked into it. And he got hit, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So that was an added thing. Yeah, some of those props like really were gonna attack you. Yeah. So moving on to value. So we did go on a Sunday. It is cheaper to go on a Sunday. It's $25. Any other day it's $28. To get a speed pass, it's $12 more. Each of the houses, so the schoolhouse and the laboratory, were each about 15 minutes to get through.
And most of that isn't filler. They also have an interesting option. They have a season pass you can buy, which is good for them and Factory of Terror. It gives you... It also includes Fast Pass for any time you come, and I think it's any night they're open, you can bring up to 4 other people, and those 4 people get 50% off that night's ticket. Plus, it includes admission to any special events that Factory or Schoolhouse may do, like the Valentine's Day at Schoolhouse or the Christmas thing at Factory. So that is an option as well if you plan on doing both of those. If you already plan on getting VIP and you had people coming with you, you know, it's definitely like worth doing the math to see if that adds up. Because even though $130 sounds like a lot, if you plan on doing haunts anyways with other people, and especially if you plan on doing the speed pass, I think that that's definitely worth looking into. Also, I would say $12 for a fast pass is not much, especially for haunts of this level. They tend to get really expensive when you get like into like the really like well-known big name haunted houses. We thought value was pretty good, especially for a Sunday. Sunday's less because, again, they know there's a lot, people that are working for them have to work the next day, and some of them are younger, so they just, it's just harder to get staff on Sundays. That's just how it is for every haunt. So that's why it's a little bit cheaper, because, it's still the same show else, besides that, though.
Right.
So for value, we gave it an 8.5. We think that it is pretty good value. We definitely think that you get your money's worth out of that. That's a little bit, especially on a Sunday, it's a little bit more than $1 per minute, which is cool. Well, money-wise, less than $1 per minute. You're getting more than. Yeah. I know what I meant.
Yeah, no, what
it's good value. But that brings us to our overall score, which we gave a 9. I still very much think this place is worth going to.
Oh, yeah.
It's very elaborate. I really liked it outside of there just not being enough actresses. A Sunday, like the sets and props were just really good. I just wish there was a little bit less of the dummies and the puppets, or not the puppets, like just the, I don't know what you call them, like not even necessarily animatronics, just like the fake prop people things.
Yeah, the mannequins. And
some of it was just like when you put so many in a scene, it's that it can be a little bit distracting. But as we said at the beginning of the video, we are doing a big old giveaway, so we're going to play the little video we made that talks about that now. Alright guys, as we said at the beginning of the video, we are doing a giveaway, so now we are going to basically tell you what you need to do to be able to be entered into that giveaway. And it's pretty simple, really. All you really need to do is comment on any of these videos, the Fearscapes review, Akron Schoolhouse and Laboratory, Field of Screams, Pennhurst, or the announcement video. So that's 5 entries. Each video you comment on will get you an entry to win tickets to, we said at the beginning of the video, but either Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse, Wells Township, which is actually going to be 2 spots there, so 2 sets of 2 tickets are going to be given away, and each of these will be 2 tickets, so you and a friend will be able to go. Rich's Fright Farm and Crawford School of Terror. Now, if you want a bonus one, you can actually go to any of the reviews of those, so Chippewa, Fright Farm, or Crawford School of Terror. We all have reviews of those for the 2021 season. Wells Township, the last time we've got to do one that's on the channel at the moment is 2019. We plan on going there, but later in the season, so we won't have that up by the time the giveaway is going on. So just make sure you go and comment on any of those.
So just so you know, you can only win 1 pair of tickets. So when we're doing the drawing, if we call your name and you win, you can't win anything else. We'll draw another name or whatever like that. Just know that when you're doing each of the videos and commenting, it just increases your chance of winning.
And yes, and you can't choose which one you want to win either. It just wouldn't be fair to do it that way because some more people that watch the video might want to go to one than the other. You will, win a ticket for that. So if you think, I definitely can't go to a couple of these, then you might not want to enter. But yes. And to find out if you won, we're going to be doing a video. It's going to be premiering. It's going to be an actual premiere, so you'll be able to watch it live. It won't be live like us live, but the video itself will be premiering in real time, kind of like a cable show. 5 o'clock on Monday, the 25th is when that's going to air. So make sure you keep track of that. If for some reason you can't watch it, don't worry. We're going to post it on our social media, and the video is going to still be online. We'll also try and message you directly. If for some reason you don't respond within 24 hours, we will then pick somebody else and then message them. So good luck to you. Make sure the more of these videos you go and like and comment on, the more chance you have. And of course, you have to be subscribed as well. So good luck at winning. All right, and welcome back to the end of the review. Make sure you do all of that stuff because it's a big giveaway, and yeah, it's definitely worth it. But even if you are watching in the future when this giveaway is not going on, or maybe you don't want to be part of it, still please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you click the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. If you like to see other stuff we do more than just haunt reviews. We have a podcast called Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
Where we talk about real creepy stuff. Cryptids, all of that kind of stuff. Real hauntings, strange occurrences, all kinds of stuff on there. We have quite a few episodes. You can click the link in the description of this video to actually do the podcast itself. We also do it in video form, which is on the channel. It's all on a playlist. We also do short films, and we do a series called Haunted Adventures, where we actually go ghost hunting. A whole bunch of other stuff. Sometimes we do stuff with food as well. Let us know what kind of content you would like to see when it's the off-season, because we can't review haunts all the time. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.